Let's get going. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're doing well. We're starting into July. It's been not a good month for crypto in June, but historically, June also a bit of a weaker month. So now we're going into one has to say, a bit of the weaker quarter of the year, which is Q3. But July tends to be a bit of a outlier to that. We're going to be discussing this. We're going to be discussing where the slump is coming from at the moment. And especially if you're looking at the charts, Bitcoin is actually the one that's performing the weakest over the top 20. And this is normally not happening when the markets go down. Normally, this happens when there's an altcoin season. And we're going to discuss this a bit. We're going to discuss Ethereum. We're going to discuss the entire drama around Biden and Trump, and obviously not so much on the politics side, even though we're going to throw in some opinions. But on the betting side, the trading side, we're going to be discussing the bundles, the new fiat on-ramp, update the app if you want to. So we have all the good stuff. Fabio's also here. Fabio, happy Wednesday. How are you doing? Give us a bit of the overview. How's everything? How's the sentiment? How's the community? What are the topics? Give us the bird's eye view.
Yeah, hello everyone. So you already said a bit. It's definitely not been a good month. I would even say I think it's 2 months since we kind of slowed down a little bit. Right around the halving, so end of April, we saw the first top, and then we had a second run up to the 70,000 area, and since then it's been a bit boring. And on the news, besides maybe potentially other billionaires getting their foot into the door, we
Michael Dell, right? Or who are you referring to? What's that? Yeah. How much of that is rumor? How much of that is fact? I mean, we've seen this, like, I think $450 million buy order on Binance, and I think that caused a lot of the hopium around this as well. But other than that, is there anything like hard fact other than him kind of tweeting about Bitcoin every once in a while and stuff? Or what's the bigger picture here?
No, so I think there's nothing is confirmed that he actually bought this sum, but there is like a lot of coincidence, or like he's definitely tweeting a lot. He had some exchanges with Sailor. He's doing polls. He's tweeting about Cookie Monster and about Bitcoin, and there is a lot. Like the rumor mill is going crazy. I think it's actually kind of reasonable for a billionaire of his size to kind of hedge his position, and even like I think he's worth 140 billion or so, or 120 billion. I'm not quite sure. At least north of 100 billion. So if you just take 1 or 2 billion allocation into Bitcoin, is a 2% allocation. So this would be a nice hedge in his case. I definitely think he's looking into this. Maybe he probably already bought, and he might even consider putting some of Bitcoin on Dell's balance sheet as well. I think they also have like 10 billion on their cash balance. Yeah, other than that, I think nothing's confirmed yet. So just rumors. But that's actually the only positive news that we have right now. There's a lot of, I'm not sure if it's known knowns, like the Mt. Gox thing, the German government, the United States government, where, yeah, you could assume there is some sell pressure in the room, or some, bigger players.
Has Mt. Gox started selling already? Distributing the coins and then selling? Not known yet, right?
No,
like they said beginning of July, but I've not seen a single tweet that says, "Oh, got my Bitcoins, let me dump them," or something.
Yeah, and also I think that the internet would be filled with, "Hey, look, these are the first Mt. Gox transactions," and so on. So I don't think they have been starting. They're not starting. Their distribution hasn't started yet. And then the other question is, even if they are starting, is it already priced in? Is it a known, or is this gonna creep up on us and surprise us? These are, I guess, the questions. And when it comes to sentiment, I don't know. In crypto, it's pretty weird. So I think if I briefly took a look at the Fear and Greed Index, and it's currently at neutral, 49. Some pages it's a bit different. On CoinMarketCap, currently it's at 49. And I mean, we are above 60,000, 15%, 10% below the all-time high. This is actually kind of bullish. we're still very early in the cycle.
You know what? What I've seen from a lot of like analysis and people tweeting and stuff, they say even though crypto is up so much, there's actually very few coins that are up. It's similar to the S&P, like where you look at the S&P and the S&P is like up 20% or something this year, or 15, I don't know, but it's actually a super small amount of coins and a super small amount of tokens. And then people say, oh, crypto is up, but it's like a super small group. So a lot of people are actually not up in crypto or are like just kind of breaking even. And even those that are in the coins that are up, let's say Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and so on, even there, people are not up that much. And so that's where people say a lot of this like disappointment and so comes from. I don't know. How do you see this?
Yeah, definitely. If I look just within the exchanges that I had online and within my personal network, look, and here the majority of people have a majority of their capital not in blue chips. They're super exposed in I don't know, maybe the top 100. So they have a, let's say, diversified portfolio of I don't know, maybe not blue chips, but second tier cryptos, like, and I would put like, I don't know, Avalanche, Cardano, Cosmos, Polygon, you name it. Maybe the coins that are between rank 5 and rank 50. A lot of people have that exposure there, and these coins didn't do particularly well. Like, it has been a very concentrated rally, especially Solana and Bitcoin are probably the ones that stand out among the top 100. You have other coins like Telegram coin, Ton, or like Caspa that also did well, but a majority of coins, they're nowhere near an all-time high, and they're bleeding in Bitcoin terms. So I guess that's also part of the maybe the disappointing factor. And now there is a lot of talks. I think maybe the last 6 months, I don't know how many times I've saw people claiming that alt season has started or alt season is starting now. And of course, their impatience is growing while the price is not. So there is this discrepancy between a lot of altcoins, especially underperforming, and a lot of hope that there is still a rally to come. And others are making the argument that this cycle is going to be different. We don't really know yet, because it's a bit premature. So we are early in. If you just compare it to 2017 or 2020, we are 6 months ahead or 6 months early when we just look at the Bitcoin price. And usually altcoins really start to run approximately 6 months after the halving, when Bitcoin breaks its all-time high. So yeah, I guess it's still an open question if we are going to see a broadband altcoin rally, or if this cycle is really going to be different. I don't know, what are your thoughts on, let's just say, usually, especially in 2017, we had this situation where you needed to buy Bitcoin first to go into any altcoins. So it was a different cycle. Like, there were not a lot of USD to altcoin pairs. Most pairs were traded in Bitcoin. So you need to buy Bitcoin first and then go into the altcoin. So that changed in 2020. In 2020, almost every major altcoin had its USD pair. So there was no need to go into Bitcoin first. And that's definitely what we saw in the performance. We had many meme coins, altcoins outperforming Bitcoin, at least in the short term. And now we have the ETFs, which is also gives also a bit of a twist, because people that allocate in their broker account and just buy a Bitcoin ETF, they will probably never venture down or up the risk curve and go into alt. So what are your thoughts on potential altcoin rally, or is this cycle really going to be different?
Yeah, I mean, I am not I've not been the cycle person. I've mentioned this several times. I know that there have been like 4-year cycles, but I just always thought this had really more to do with the expansion of the monetary supply. I think we discussed this several times, on the show as well. And at the end, then, if you leave the factor speculation away, if you just remove that factor, at the end, it really comes down to the utility of a coin. And utility is the easiest factor to see. Utility is the way Buffett describes it. And the utility is if you don't have a price. So you don't see the price. You buy something, but you don't have a price. You cannot resell it. You have to use it for something. And if that is possible, then I think people are obviously having the speculation factor, which I think is very strong in crypto, and obviously has a lot to do with the monetary supply, because if there's a monetary expansion, speculation is a lot easier than if there's a compression. And then you have this utility of the coins. And I just think at the moment, a lot of people sit there and just reflect and say, what are the use cases of the various coins and how can I use them other than just speculation? Because at the moment, people sit there and say, I cannot really speculate so much more. We need more monetary stimulus, and then people are going to speculate again. And then you're going to have all these narratives. But at the moment, I think a lot of people sit there and kind of say, is it DeFi? Is it NFTs? Is it GameFi? Is it the AI connection with blockchain? Is it L2s? Is it what is it? Is it just meme coins? What is it? And I think a lot of people just reflect a bit and are waiting for that next step of innovation. And I think that's just that phase a bit. And that just it's a bit of a tough phase. And I really think so. I mean, price wise, I am really focused right now on Ethereum just because of the impending ETF hopefully admission. I know maybe you also want to share your thoughts a bit on there if you want to, that we may see a similar rotation, how we saw Bitcoin, Ethereum with the last ETF. I know you have a bit of a different opinion there. Do you want to share that a bit? I think there's an interesting counter. Let me finish my point, and then you're going to counter with your thoughts. I don't know if they exactly counter, but I think there's a nice add-on there. We discussed this a lot off the show. My thought is that at the moment, there's just a lot of short-term price pressure. It's really price pressure on Bitcoin. The US government is selling, the German government is selling, Mt. Gox is distributing. There's not so much positive going for the price at the moment. And I think on the Ethereum side, it's still going to get pushed around by Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the mother of all the coins. But Ethereum has this ETF thing going. And I think the ETF launch is going to be a bit different than Bitcoin, where in Bitcoin, there was so much hype and so much hopium around it. And I think on Ethereum, it's the exact opposite. And so that is why, obviously, I hope, right, and I'm really talking my own bag here, I really hope that the price is going to do well. And the question really is, when is this approval going to happen? And a lot of people talking about maybe this week or next week. And so within July, so I hope really in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And then the question is, when does trading start? I hope relatively quickly. And so my hope is that Ethereum is going to do well. Ethereum also not impacted by Mt. Gox, not impacted by this government selling. So I just hope that we may see something positive there. But then at the end, it measured in dollars. If the Bitcoin price keeps going down, I think it's always hard for the rest of the market to do well. So we may see a very tough summer, and something that we had actually discussed, that we may see the sideward summer. Yeah. What is your thought here about the rotation that we had shared a bit off the show?
So first of all, I fully agree with especially the last part. So if we don't see Bitcoin doing well, we won't see any other asset doing well. Like, of course, there are like Ethereum could potentially outperform Bitcoin in a brief moment, especially after the ETF launch. Entirely possible, but for altcoins, and I would consider Ethereum and Solana, even big blue chip altcoins among that category as well. We need Bitcoin to do well for everything else to do well. So that's the first point, I would say. And I think we are very much aligned there. Then when it comes, I think the blue chips in general are going to do well. Not that, like, if I looked through Twitter and I look at price predictions, people are completely delusional, talking about, I don't know, 25,000 for an Ethereum or both, more than 1,000 for Solana, or like 500,000 for Bitcoin this cycle. And I think that's delusional. I don't think that we are going to see that strong of a cycle. Really something that the money printer would need to go like really burr, and I'm talking more than 2020 burr. So if, of course, if there is another black swan event, something where they really turn on the money printers worldwide, maybe we could see such prices. But I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting all the blue chips, Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum to do well. I'm not so sure about a broad altcoin season, just because there is an insane fragmentation, and like capital is getting smarter and smarter. So people that have run 1 cycle or 2 cycles, they are really either they're taking extensive risks and going into meme coins because you have a bit of a fairer approach, but there's two or three problems that I see with new. So if you go into the 2020 cycle, the coins that did the best were the new coins. So the coins that never experienced the bull and the bear cycle, that got launched between 2018 and 2020. For example, Solana, and Avalanche and Dot, and like the newer kids. Right now, they're the older ones. And if you just look at what's out there right now, is all of these coins, like for example, Sai or Sui, or the coins that got launched, let's say this year or the last year, they have this issue of being heavily VC funded, and they have these unlock cycles that basically keep sell pressure on these coins. And a lot of community, especially smart money, is fully aware that there is a lot of VC money and they just don't want to be exit liquidity. So a lot of newer coins are struggling because of the way they were funded via venture capital. And you have these ETFs that a lot of capital just goes into ETFs. They're not going onto Coinbase, they're not going onto Binance, and it's different capital. So the new capital that is coming in is not really retail capital. It's more, let's say, a bit smarter money, Wall Street institutions, whatever. And they're not so much interested in broader altcoins. They're really sticking with the blue chips. I think the ETF is going to be positive, but on the Ethereum side as well, we firstly need to wait until the GBTC unload is done. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum have a lot of GBTC exposure, and on Bitcoin we saw 60% outflow. So since January, GBTC got basically cut in half. So I'm estimating that the same is going to be true for Ethereum, but the ETF is going to be a net positive, and it will. I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana all of them are going to do well, but I think probably Solana could be the one that is doing the best. Just because the narrative is going to shift the day that the Ethereum ETF is going to go live. It's going to be talks about Solana ETF. We already saw Vanek and I think 21 shares fighting for the Solana ETF. And the narrative just of this being out there, it's probably going to take into 2025 until something comes out of this. But it's going to be a strong narrative.
Or even later, yeah.
Yeah, potentially.
Because we don't even have we don't even have CME futures or something. So the point that I always make is, it's going to be very hard for anyone to argue how Solana is regulated by the US, or what is the thing that to look at. And on Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's very straightforward because you have the CME. And so that's the key thing. So it would be a completely new kind of precedent to go and say, oh, we are using a different reference price, so we're using something else. So yeah, I'm a bit, I would be actually surprised if we see 2025. Yeah.
And then, of course, the big thing, as you mentioned, is this cycle, or many people are. We have these 4-year cycles, and I know, Julian, you think it's fooled by randomness, because they're also very much like the correlation between crypto, the liquidity, and M2 is insane, and it just happens to be that exactly in these 4-year cycles we see M2 money supply, so the money printer basically picking up, and this is fueling these crypto rallies. But we might just need to wait another 4 years until we really find out, because it just looks like we can potentially see the M2 money supply picking up towards, in Q3. We are in Q3 right now, into Q4. And if this is going to happen and we see more liquidity, then of course the price is also going to run up, and people will still think it's because of the halving, or if it's because of these 4 years. And it might be the other way around, that M2 is the thing that is driving all of this. And
definitely. What else in the crypto side do you see? Because so when I look at the markets, following it a bit, I see on the stocks have been narrowly doing well, but it's a very, very small part. Obviously the AI stocks, some tech stocks, but on a large scale, it's not been doing well. Indices are up, but other than that, it's been not so much action. On crypto, it's been very dry when it comes to actual fundamentals over the past weeks and months. The big story right now is obviously the entire meme coin stuff around the betting on the election, Boden, Trump, and so on. Do we want to shift there a bit, or are there other things aside of that political madness?
No, I think it both what you just said, that maybe two things. So we saw a bit of a deep hack or an uncorrelation where the S&P and the Nasdaq are making new highs, and Bitcoin and crypto in general has a bit of a drawdown. And usually they kind of catch up to each other. So one is going to break down or one is going to break up. Which one it's going to be is hard to say. But both for crypto and for, let's say, the big indexes or the stock market, I would say the same thing is true, that we only see a very concentrated era or a concentrated bunch of assets that are doing well, both in, TradFi, in stocks. It's just a bunch of stocks that are really doing well. And let's say the Russell 2000 or mid caps or small caps are not particularly doing well. It's mainly the tech stocks, the Magnificent Seven, and lately Tesla. And on crypto, I would say the same is true. So to finish that off, and when it comes to, let's say, the political madness, or the thing that is also probably going to be having a bigger impact on all of us investing in both traditional assets and crypto, is the U.S. elections. Have you seen the debate?
I watched it live on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, same. I got up in 3 o'clock in the night to watch the debate.
That's quite crazy.
Yeah, like that. Do you want to hit us off or her?
I mean, do you want to share a few thoughts on that? Let's stay on the as factual as possible. Let's not try to, favor one side or the other. Let's stay on the factual side. And then, my question then is going to be a question that I haven't seen many people ask outside. If you were Biden's advisor right now, what would you advise him to do? Like, that would be interesting. Yeah.
So, this is my probably fourth debate that I actively watched. The first debate was I think 2008. The second one was 2012, which was the most enjoyable in my opinion. It was Romney against Obama. If you just look at the quality of candidates and how they carry themselves, how they answer questions, how they argue, everything seems to be deteriorating since 2012. Like, I think Mitt Romney and Obama were great candidates, very presidential, very good debaters, very polite in how they acted and carried themselves. And then after that, it kind of deteriorated. And when I watched the last debate, I don't know, there was so little substance that they were talking about golf. They were name calling. They were trying to make pinpoint bad things on each other. They were lying, both of the candidates, extensively, and they were not that sharp. Donald Trump was outpacing Biden by far, and that was also, like, if you look at the flash polls that came after the debate, even on CNN, which is considered more left-leaning, they had, I think 66% is now Republican and on Trump's camp. So I think that Trump definitely won the debate, but it's just because how bad Biden was. Like, he was not, he just felt old and not sharp, and like, really the last 4 years took a toll on him. If you compare the 2020 debate to the 2024 debate, this is like looking at two different people. And
do you also think Trump was totally different?
He took it easy. He had so many opportunities to really go hard on Biden and to kind of make fun of him and call him names like, I don't know, Sleepy Joe or whatever. And he didn't. Like, he was actually very polite, which is probably favoring him. But we saw, like, the Trump that we saw against Hillary Clinton, and the Trump that we saw in the 2020 debate was much more aggressive, much more nasty.
Direct, ad hominem.
Yeah. And this time he was a bit, I don't know, it probably helped the debate setup. I think they wanted to, so they muted the microphones, and they basically gave the candidates time to speak without interruptions. And initially I thought this is going to be bad for Trump because he's, consistently interrupting, making jokes and so on. But in this case, it actually helped him because Biden, he just needed to let him talk. just needed to let him make errors. And he had 2 or 3 times where he had a good comeback. And I don't know, if I would be Joe Biden advisors, I probably would have told him halfway through the last presidency that he shouldn't be running again. I cannot understand why the Democrats are pushing Biden so hard. Is it because they just don't have another good candidate? But you can clearly see that he's not up to the task. And the voters and the polls are kind of hinting at that. A lot of news and media are basically turning on Biden and really pointing out that there's this one guy, I don't know, I think it's a CNN moderator that said it was a debate between one guy that shouldn't be president and one guy that can't be president. And I guess, it's kind of a funny way to put it. What are your thoughts? What would you advise Joe Biden if you were his advisor?
I mean, it depends a bit on obviously understanding the actual facts, and that's very difficult from the outside. But if he seriously, and also it depends a bit on what does he truly want. So let's say these stories about him only being able to function from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and him being quite okay during this time, then I don't know, I would probably met him up, give him whatever I can get my hands on, put him on amphetamines or whatever, Ritalin, and just really get him super focused and super pumped up. Get him, I don't know, do a 2 p.m. press conference, prep him with the 50 questions that they may ask. I mean, this cannot be so difficult to kind of anticipate. And do a 2-hour press conference, go all out, and basically risk it all. Because there's no downside to it. The downside is that he completely embarrasses himself, but there's not a real embarrassment there. It's only a confirmation. And then I would be able to just push him and say, look, now it's time for you to step out, and just say, look, I thought at that debate I didn't do well and I still have it, but now I have to admit I really don't have it. So I would love to, and then move it to the side. I think if he does well at that 2 p.m. debate interview thing for 2 hours, and I would televise that, I would stream that, I would know that there would be tough questions, but I would just prep him. I would just give him the 50 questions that it's there, and it would be straightforward. And then just see. And I think that could be a total swing, because at the end, the most powerful comebacks are those where you have everyone in one corner already. And at the moment, you look at the odds and everything, everyone kind of has Biden written off. And so in this case, you can be totally right. And the most logical bet is to bet not on Biden. I think it's difficult to bet who to bet on. I think there was an interesting comment here by Namaste Dolphins who says they're going to throw in another candidate, and maybe that candidate is going to beat Biden. I said there was this interesting thing about Michelle Obama today, where she suddenly popped up and had higher odds of winning than Trump. So you have to obviously, I think the most reasonable bet is to say Biden is not going to be the president. But if you're a contrarian, and being a contrarian can be very interesting, and so in this case with the good stunt here, you can pull that off. You do a 2 p.m. press conference, you pump him up, he goes out for 2 hours and completely aces this. And I think there's a chance that this happens, right? The environment is good, you prep him well, could be doable. And I think that could so swing it. And then you just keep him out of the limelight because you've proven your point, and you basically come up with excuses all the time where you're like, sorry, I'm not going to put him in the limelight now. He needs to focus. He has this. You probably cancel another debate. He's not going to do another debate. So you just make excuses on why the debate is not happening. So you cancel the debate short term. You don't do it up front. You just cancel it then and there. And then I think you have a fair shot. That would be my kind of situation hacking the I don't know, the decision here. What are your thoughts?
One thing, I recently saw a video of him from 12 years ago where there was a vice president debate. So they have a presidential debate and then they have vice presidents. And he used to be vice president under Obama. And he had a debate, I don't even know, against Andy something. And my God, these are two different people. The Biden 12 years ago, he was sharp. He was the way he carried himself, the way he spoke. It is insane. The deterioration that he underwent in these 12 years, and especially within the last 4 years, are insane. And one of my worries would just be if Biden can actually pull it off and he manages to win this election. I don't think he can manage to perform for another 4 years, let alone the possibility of him actually dying during his presidency and just passing on the scepter to Kamala Harris or I don't know. It would be too big of a risk, and I don't know. I just don't understand that you have. I don't know how big the Democratic Party in America is, and how can it be that this is the best guy they have? How is this possible? And look, sometimes I ask myself the same thing on the Republican side. Is this the best of the best that the United States has to offer? I don't know.
That's not okay. I mean, okay, if we go very fundamental about it, right? I mean, I live in Singapore. Singapore is famous for having the best paid politicians. It's famous for it. And when Lee Kuan Yew decided on that, I don't know when, but a long time ago, there was a huge outcry at the beginning, but it turned out to be one of the best decisions ever. And that's why I think, I mean, are Singaporean politicians perfect? No, of course not. I'm sure you would still have a lot better people for sure, but that's not the point. The point is, I think you're doing way better than in many other jurisdictions. And you look in many other countries. I mean, which other country really has good politicians right now? Obviously, like some people are now looking at South America, Central America with Milei and Bukele. But then also, I want to point out one thing: is people love these kind of these loud stories. But let's look at the results over a bit of a longer time, right? So let's actually look at the results. So it's one thing to do something, be loud, be vocal, be great on social, right? And Bukele definitely has done a great job there. Milei as well. But that is, I mean, in their presidency, I mean, this is not even the first inning here, right? I mean, this is like a super small part. So you really kind of need to look at this after a couple of years and look at that. So, but maybe that's something to look at. But then let's look into Europe. I mean, it's abysmal, right? It's a disaster in my opinion. So to me, it's less of is the US, are these the two best guys the US has? But my answer is no, it's the best guys society produces at the moment. And society gets the politicians, gets its leaders that they deserve. And I think it's an issue with society. That's it. People, I mean, what does life look like in 2020? Wasn't that like, I don't know, 1980 or something? And then people had like flying cars and this and that. And what do we get? We get TikTok. Is that really the best we can produce? No, it's just what people want. And that's what, at the end, it is. People, that's what, they want someone like Trump. They want someone like Biden. People love being lied to. They love it. They want to hear what they want to believe. They don't want to hear what they need to hear. And that's the tough part. They want Biden to buy the student debt from them. They want it. They don't understand what is the issue of it. And people all support it. And then on Trump, they want to hear the polarizing side on the other side. And I think that's the issue all around the world. It is the issue all around the world. And I think the US is just so public and it's just so, and obviously having a two-party system just kind of polarizes it so much. But I think that's the big issue. I mean, have you ever read The Fourth Turning?
I did. Amazing book.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, if you believe in the 4 generations of society, it's about an 80-year cycle. Then we're in this last kind of cycle, and that's the And I mean
we are at weak men produce hard times.
Correct. That's exactly where we are. I mean, it's what everyone sees on social, right? Those 4 parts where strong men produce strong times produce weak men produce weak times, and then that's kind of when the cycle then connects again to get to the strong men, and that's where we are right now. We need to move into that. I mean, our kids, yours and mine, these are the ones, and all the other young kids right now are the ones who need to kind of pull us out when they get into their kind of 20s. That's the time. Yeah, Generation Alpha.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think here in Europe we we didn't have a particularly great last 25 years. I think I shared something in the company Slack internally. So the biggest innovations that came out of Europe the last 20 years were straw, not plastic straws, but paper straws, like the bottle top that you cannot remove, and the cookies that you need to click accept to on websites. These are like the biggest European innovations. We haven't done anything else. Like we're just stifling things and going backwards, which is kind of sad to me. Like we had so much potential going in, in the late 90s with like companies like Siemens and Nokia and Sony Ericsson and so on. We could have had a lot of the tech here in Europe, a lot of the mobile phone manufacturing or designing company. They could have been European, but we kind of butchered our startup scene and made it really difficult for people to start companies and to innovate. Yeah. Well, what do you think about betting on let's say electoral outcomes? The title of this YouTube video is Tremp versus Boden. For the people that don't know what this is you have Solana meme coins. One is called Tremp and the other is called Boden, and it's basically making jokes out of the two presidential candidates. And they also kind of follow election news a bit. So after the debate, the Boden coin dumped, and I don't know. What do you think about meme coins and the betting of it?
Yeah, I think right now betting on Biden is betting on Trump is to me just a risky one at this stage, because I really think everything there is all the hype and everything is kind of priced in there. So the point, a good investor, right? A good investor it's not about being right to be a good investor. People really don't understand that. It's not about being right. If you're being right as an investor, doesn't mean squash it, because you can be right and still lose money. And people don't get that. You need to be right first. You need to be right earlier, or you need to be righter than someone else. And this is so difficult to understand. So in this case, you can be right that Trump wins, but the upside is just it's just getting very small. So yeah, I think right now the bet to make is probably either on Newsom or on Obama. I think these are the bets. I don't know. I read a really good article today that said Kamala Harris, if they ditch her, that's going to destroy the entire kind of campaign, because that means why did they not always have a different vice president if they are not going for Kamala Harris? So I do understand the bet on Kamala Harris. I don't know. Is there a meme coin on her as well?
Probably. I mean, there has to be. I don't know if the ticker or if there is one, but there has to be.
So that would probably be the key one. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. Look, I have like two Solana, so $300 on my Phantom wallet, and I try to browse through a few of the coins that are on Jupiter, and sometimes I buy a coin for like $10 and I get 1 million coins. But for me, the way I approach meme coins is, I guess, the way they are intended to. So something I can relate to, something that makes me laugh. If I browse through the list and I see a coin that I kind of understand, like the meme behind it, and the meme, then it's something I put $10 into it. But for me, meme coins are, I get it's a bit of financial nihilism. Like a lot of people, they just feel cheated on by Wall Street. They cannot, like, stocks are at an all-time high, houses are unattainable for them. They think everything is rigged, the system is rigged, everything is working against them. In crypto, you have these VC-funded projects where you basically are exit liquidity. So they think, okay, I'm just going to YOLO into a meme coin, and if I lose all money, okay, that's fine. And if I get my 100x or 1000x, I finally can, I don't know, buy my car, or I have some money for a down payment for a house. So it's a lot of gambling, and it's not the way I approach this. I still think there are actual opportunities in the market. I understand everybody is saying the market is rigged, But if I'm a strong believer in hard work and slow and steady wins the race. So if you just do the work, save the money, and allocate capital conservatively in indexes, in blue chips, in things that are going to be around in 5 to 10 years. I think that's my personal approach. I think that's the way to go. And so I'm probably not the best person to ask when it comes to meme coins.
Fair. Fair. Any other topics, points that we need to bring up? Otherwise, I want to talk a bit about the new app design, custom bundles, and I need to pick our new winner. But are there other topics?
So the only thing that it maybe is a bit of news worthy is the thing that evolved around Roaring Kitty. So we saw him being hit by a lawsuit for market manipulation, and I think not even 24 hours later the lawsuit got killed. I don't know why, and he filed some. I don't know, it's not an audit, but it's like where he discloses his allocation and his capital with the SEC. And there was an interesting allocation that came out of it. Have you seen what he's also invested in very heavily?
No, I only saw that it somehow was connected to the CEO also. So, but I didn't fully follow it. Yeah.
So he also has a decent. I think he owns 6.6% of all the shares from Chewy. So it's an American brand for pet e-commerce platform that sells pet supplies for dogs, and that came out of I briefly looked at the stock. It's a very weird stock. Like it has a PE ratio of 131, and they have increasing revenue, but their income is like tiny. They almost have no income at all, like just a few million for a very sizable company, but the revenue seems to be growing. So I don't really get why he took an allocation, but it's interesting, and a lot of people are talking about it. And why the lawsuit got canceled, I have actually no clue. Do you know why it?
No idea. I really didn't follow it all too much. Yeah, I didn't think it had legs in the first place, so I didn't. And I didn't. I really didn't follow it too much.
So, besides Roaring Kitty, there is one more thing that I would love to bring up before we go into the bake-related and app-related news, and this is the news around Mika. So what we saw is a lot of companies. I'm not sure. I think it's who came out. There a few big exchanges.
Here, Fabio, here's a comment for you. Do you see the comment?
I see the comment. So Navas the Dolphin said, I tried Hamster Combat and lost all belief in humanity. Well, it's a great game. But and he claims that I'm a DJ. Well, not so sure about that. But the Mika thing is, I don't know which exchanges, but there were several bigger exchanges that came out and said we're going to delist US dollar Tether. And because, I don't know, it's not going to be compliant with Mika and so on. And then a few days or weeks later, we saw Circle becoming the first global stablecoin issuer to obtain electronic money institution license, short MiCA. I don't know. I think it's a very underestimated news snippet. I think this is actually huge when it comes to stablecoins, and there is a race and a war when it comes to stablecoins as well. Like there is big competition, and it seems to me that US dollar Circle USDC is kind of winning the race, or at least taking the lead there. Maybe not in market cap, but when it comes to regulations, do you have thoughts on US dollar Tether or USDC?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I don't fully understand why or how one coin is okay and the other one is not. I mean, of course, I have seen some of the explanations, but I'm definitely not the expert on this. So for me, it's been mostly just having to follow the rules on this. And yeah, it is what it is. I mean, the question, and also Ferhat actually sent me that question, so I just want to post it as well. People ask what happens to the bridging of DUSD, because obviously, especially European customers are asking. So European customers on Bake will not be able to bridge DUSD. We're going to be evaluating if we keep bridging DUSD or if we have to stop the bridging for DUSD. This is a separate decision. But so as European customers, you're not going to be able to do this. And again, look, I want to be very clear. I made a YouTube video on this as well. Kind of a couple of things. I'm not expecting you to be happy about this, but it's not the choice here, right? So it's not this is not like us trying to sell ice cream and hopefully you like the ice cream. This is a top-down approach where we are not able to do certain things. So don't come complaining to us for these things, or also Binance and so on. It's not their fault. It is the regulation, and there's not a choice. And so, yeah, it is what it is. So that's just the key point I want to make on this.
Cool. Do you want to go into Bake-related news? We have, I think, many things to share since the last time we were on. A lot of developments happened.
Yeah, full on. I mean, a couple of things here. The first one is if you open the app now, you're going to see a new, what's called a trading interface, which I really like. So if you open the app, then you can see this. This is going to improve, get better and better and better. Because at the end, Bake, and I'm just looking at my phone here, Bake is not about only cash flow in your crypto, which is what it started with. It's really about kind of being this one-stop platform for everything. Also, obviously, for cash flow in your crypto, also for what's called the trading side. So you should be able to see this. We're going to be improving. So definitely check this out. The other thing is the customized bundles. We have an entire list of custom bundles being created. So far, we have decided against listing these custom bundles in the app or on a platform, simply because it's so early and we don't want anyone being able to game this by, for example, allocating their own funds to it and then, I don't know, ranking this up. So at the moment, it's all about people's own effort. So it really comes down to you having to share that link on social media. Now, I may actually just simply share an entire list of all the bundles, or all the bundles that I have right now, and then just share this on social, and then people can, and I'm not endorsing anyone. So the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to endorse a bundle or anything. I just want to, provide equal opportunity to all the bundle creators, and then people can just click on it and get access to that bundle. But so over time, we're going to look into how can we do this. Probably it's going to be more like an Amazon model where, I don't know, popularity, funds allocated, number of people allocating, and so on. So we just want to, obviously, there's going to be top risers, top funded, and so on. So that's going to be a key model, and then it's going to be also visible in the app. But we haven't, first of all, we haven't made a decision on how to do this yet, and also we don't want to pick any winners right now or let people game that system at the moment. Yeah. Then additionally, we're always adding more coins. So take a look at this as well. Also, maybe you want to create your own bundle. Definitely exciting and a very nice financial incentive. So yeah, it's been quite good here from that. So I'll share a bit there. Are there products, features, or things, questions, Fabio, that we need to address around this? Otherwise, I do the random picker of the next winner of the week. But what are the points?
What a lot of people are waiting for is Apple Pay and in general the on-ramping. And I'm not 100% sure if it should be live right now. No, as I just saw Ben's messaging the announcement.
Yes, you're right, man. I completely missed that.
Because I'm a beta user, and
no, I cannot see it myself as well. But I'm just looking at Slack actually. So
okay,
you're right.
Just confirmed. We're live actually with the on-ramp. And for me personally, so look, I'm just going to share my personal experience here before the beta went live, and I could use this myself. So I was opening the app, browsing through a bit of the bundles and so on, and then I suddenly saw, okay, I might just take an allocation because I saw an interesting bundle. I went on it, and then I could only convert crypto into it. So I could not buy it with credit card, with Apple Pay, Google Pay, and so on. And then, I just wasn't feeling it at the moment to log into another exchange, transfer the funds, and so on. I was ready to kind of convert my fiat into crypto, but I wasn't ready to shuffle my funds around. And I guess a lot of people might have experienced something similar. But now, since I would say an hour ago, we actually have a live working on-ramp. I think SEPA is not live yet. It's debit card, credit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay. That was live today. We're going to expand that, and there's going to be other options to onboard capital, but it's super easy, super straightforward. If you have done anything with Apple Pay or Google Pay, it's basically just pressing one or two buttons. And you can allocate directly into bundles, reoccurring buys, everything you might want. So now is really the time that you can fully indulge in all of the bundles and just test your grounds and onboard some capital. I would recommend DCA, so set up a reoccurring buy and slowly build up your position in whatever narrative or whatever bundle you might want. And here the bundles are very much structured around narratives. So you basically have an AI bundle, a scaling bundle, a cash flow bundle, like a blue chip bundle, and so on. And you basically just pick your choice, set up a reoccurring buy, and go from there. So I would definitely urge you to open the app, do the update, and just find your way around the app. We've come a long way here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're finally getting to having the whole package, so that's quite exciting. Yeah, it's good. Cool. Then with that, let's raffle off $500. We're going to do this weekly, so it's always interesting to participate. There's all kinds of steps that you have to do, but they're quite straightforward. So you can just log into the app and take a look at this. Please also go into the app and activate your marketing consent, so we can also send you these emails. And did you hear the funny story about last week's winner? I think this is last week's winner. Did you hear the funny story from Renan?
I think I overheard you talking in a meeting that we cannot contact him or something, or that.
No. We can, but the funny part was this. Renan wrote to him and said, "Hey, congratulations, you won $500." And you know what the guy? It was 2 weeks ago. Okay, Farad said it's from 2 weeks ago.
He blocked him instantly. He blocked him.
No. And the guy replied, "Shut up, scammer," because he thought that Renan was sending him a scam message that he had made money. Yeah, so it was quite funny. Yeah, I mean, but to be frank, to be fair, I think the reaction is very. I mean, it's actually very crypto. So yeah. So then, and then they obviously realized this was not fake. It was legitimate, and then it was all. But that. Yeah, I mean, that's the sad reality in crypto. If you really get an email that you win $500, that, yeah, it's always a bit tricky.
Indeed.
Great. Then we do this always the same way. So we have all the codes from the people here added. And let's save. Are you ready, Fabio? And let's go. 925, and then obviously there's an ending, but for privacy reasons we cannot show the whole thing. Let me just make a screenshot of that, so we have that as well, but it's recorded. So congratulations, our CS team is gonna get in touch with you, and yeah, but also please be really careful that no one else contacts you and says, "Hey, congratulations, you won." So be always extra careful. But you should see the funds anyways in your account. So actually the CS side is really more on the just kind of getting in touch and wishing you congratulations. Yeah. Awesome. Fabio, that's it. That's all. We had to do this today an hour earlier because of the audit that we have in the company. So that was, we have to do this anyway. So yeah. And that's why I was also a bit late, and I need to jump into another call actually at 6 p.m. on the dot. So in 2 minutes. Nothing else?
Nothing else. Just for everybody, this was recorded on Twitter. So if you missed the beginning, you can just jump on Twitter, play the recording. It's also going to be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and YouTube, even with image on YouTube, if you want to enjoy this with a video feed. And we're going to be next week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a beautiful week. See you next week. Thanks so much.